ButeSound Cardiff Singing and Musicianship Studio Musical Topics. Narrated and authored by Ben Kolb. In my decades of experience travelling the musical galaxy and struggling up more than my fair share of learning curves, one thing that has risen to the top of things I believe are important for improvement and development is our musical mindset. For example, with only a very slightly different attitude, say, giving up when I got frustrated, I wouldn't have gained any musical skills at all. I wouldn't have been physically or technically able to write, perform, record, mix and master my own live acoustic performance EP had I believed my own conclusion that I couldn't sing and play guitar at the same time. I was convinced of this until the age of 28. Completely convinced. Yet I revisited that assumption, was prepared to go back to basics, be really bad for a while, yet continue and make progress and breakthroughs such that years later I could make a live performance record. So many times I've made breakthroughs when trying new skills or learning new parts by simply reaching the point of frustration or wanting to give up and watch TV, but reminding myself to be calm, breathe, reset, focus and try again 5 more minutes, imagining the new info sinking into my brain like water being absorbed by a sponge. Reach that point of frustration, check yourself, breathe and go for 10 more minutes of concentrated focus. You can then look back and notice that your declaration of "this is impossible" that you made 20 minutes ago has been proven 100% wrong in that time. Once you've seen that movie repeat a few times, you can spot the signs and be prepared to fight the lazy part of your brain that wants to go eat, and win it over by staying calm, focused, not getting upset, accepting our mess-ups, and not worrying about shame or pride or anyone who might hear. Then you have a superpower. Anything difficult you are faced with, in music or anything in the outside world, you will welcome and take on without fear. Yes, I can do that. It might be frustrating at first, but I'll persist with focus, and in a little bit of time, I will be doing that thing. You may not be the best, but you will have the power to gain competence at nearly anything, whilst other people who gave up 5 minutes before you proclaim that they tried it and can't do it forever. The more things you gain competence in, the more that those abilities stack and combine into as yet unknown crazy capabilities. Remember how scouts have badges on their arms showing all the various skills they've attained? That's skill stacking. That's why I will encourage everyone to get off zero on as many musical activities as possible, even if they seem unrelated to singing or your interests, because each one develops your musical senses. Better musical senses make better musicians who make better musical decisions, and someone who makes better musical decisions is, you guessed it, a better performer. Breaking out of jail. A mind hack. Many of the things we are trying to learn and skills we try to master often involve repetitive, mundane tasks that aren't fun and require a mature, patient approach. Thing is, we as humans are really impatient, and that lazy part of our brain wants us to stop doing the tricky thing and go and look at Instagram or something. One way I discovered to alleviate my own impatience in such situations is to reframe the situation in our mind, which is just another way of thinking about the situation in a manner that is more productive and positive. First, a quick setup. I visualised in my head the typical jailbird we see in films and TV who is desperate to escape, and using nothing but the end of a spoon or some dental floss, scrapes away at the wall night after night, making only millimetres of progress. But he keeps going, satisfied that if he just keeps chipping away, within the year he'll be out there to freedom. So all I say to myself when faced with that tedious, repetitive task is trying my patience, breaking out of jail, just like breaking out of jail. That's all you have to say. And believe it or not, those feelings of impatient frustration just float away and vanish, and I just chip away at the task like our jailbird. It's really quite magical, and I will no doubt remind you of it often. Embrace the suck. It's an old one, but classically helpful. Be okay with not being so good in a particular moment. It's totally normal to get things wrong. There's something wrong if you aren't getting things wrong. Your trajectory of improvement is more important. Often being pretty good at one thing can inhibit our comfort with trying new things, as we fear not being very good at it. Going outside of our comfort zone, we like to stay in our area of expertise. It's comforting and reassuring. But we all create a monster that will try anything and enjoy the process of figuring something out, being a bit lousy at first, but improving. Learn from mistakes, but don't get upset by them. This is harder than it sounds. When recording my own EP, I was trying to get the best take I could of me performing my song on guitar and voice simultaneously. I had practiced, done test recordings to arrive at a setup that sounded right, and then begun the actual takes. So you hit record and tell yourself, this is the one. I will nail this. This is the take that will be heard through the ages, the ultimate performance of this particular song. The guitar and the voice will be spot on. The dynamics, intensity of my voice will be controlled yet emotive. I'll hit the high notes with good tone, so I'm going to execute right now. And then you screw up. What did I do wrong? Try and address it. Try again. Reset completely with the exact same thoughts as the first take, but bearing in mind what we learnt from getting it wrong. Okay, so let's execute. This is the one. Oops, made a mistake. Assess the issue, adjust, listen back, learn, reset. Now, this take is the one. Empty my mind, but not too empty that I forget the lessons from the previous takes, and so on, until your energy for that session is used up. Next day or a day or so later, you try again. Now, for my one song, it needed 32 full takes, plus many start and stops after a few bars. It was one of the hardest mental challenges. Of course, a technical and performing challenge, but overwhelmingly a mental challenge. Staying calm and focused in the face of just not getting it right repeatedly, but also detecting some improvement so that our goal is achievable. And so keep going, approaching each attempt fresh but informed by the past. We will need and develop these mind tools that will not only make us better musicians, but mental giants out there in the big bad world.